Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the grand final of YCS 250 London 2023. Samir is here and Tom, his opponent, Kashtira, Spright. The journey of YCS Starfrost concludes in the Photon Hypernova here in London as Tom begins with the special summon of Fenrir. Alberto, what an incredible journey it's been.
I mean, we have Samir, who shouldn't even have been here. He told us yesterday he was not prepared to come to London, and then here he's sitting on the final with his Spright deck. And I mean, it's been an incredible journey. He's faced a lot of different opponents, and then here he started things off with the sprint. Let's see if Tom has any response to this.
This is the best start that Samir could hope for here. Of course, he is playing the Kashtira cards as well. That was my mistake. He is indeed going to normal summon the Melfi to be able to link into the sprint here, sending the Nimble Angler from the deck to the grave, special summoning two Beavers from the deck.
Absolutely, and we mentioned how Spright was one of the decks in the top 8, the remaining, but Samir's version is quite unique with 3 copies of Swap Frogs, and as you mentioned, wow!
Nibiru, the primal being activated from Tom's hand here.
And the one-off.
The one-off!
The one-off copy! Just one Nibiru in Tom deck, wow!
The question is, have the stars aligned? Okay, Book of Eclipse chained. This is going to keep the gigantic Spright on the field, as the Nibiru does not tribute face-down monsters. Now, I don't think this is going to
yeah, exactly.
do too much.
But it's definitely a nice catch from the French player. Because obviously it doesn't matter if he's face down, he's gonna still resolve.
All right, well, that is an absolutely incredible catch there, as you mentioned, from Samir. So activating the effect of the gigantic Spright in response, using the Nibiru, and because we're chaining the Book of Eclipse, because the way that gigantic Spright works, it has to detach a material as an effect, not as part of a cost. And so that way we still get to keep extending.
Yeah.
Great catch, but at the same time maybe kind of unfortunate play from Tom, because he could have just used it on the summon, avoiding this interaction, but very well caught out by Samir. Not a surprise, he is a former European champion, already came close to winning a YCS, and now in the finals.
Yeah, no, that Nibiru, all right, that is a good start here. We've got the, I think, was that a starter he searched our 2 set cards? And in the end phase, this should be flipped up.
Yeah. No?
Yeah, no,
because it's only opponents, right? Yeah.
Okay, all right. Just making sure that that's how that works.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Nibiru Primal Being is, do you think this could a little bit about a conflict maybe with the Kashtira engine?
Definitely interesting, but the reason is Tom is maining the cross-out designators. So usually the Nibiru is a way for him to avoid getting Nibiru'd, but he do draw into the 1 copy, and that's exactly how it can work sometimes. So.
All right, well, it isn't going to matter too much in this scenario because the perfect way to continue playing through this is the Kashtira Birth.
And I think, assuming from the way Samir played this out, he should have this measure being set on the field because he had the starter with the jet. So maybe he's holding that.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible back and forth that we've already seen here just in the first turn here. And yeah, the question is, how much has Samir managed to set up here alongside that Nibiru Primal Being token that came down from Tom? The Kashtira Ogre getting to search a Kashtira trap card from the deck. That is going to get Big Bang. All right, well, we're trying to find a way to continue through here. We also have Apotheosis. Nice. That's a fantastic way to keep extending here, targeting the Ogre. And in response, is Samir going to
use the smashers if it's there, as Alberto was mentioning? Let's see.
Because we already seen Samir against Ryan activating the Smasher when the Theosis was activated from his opponent, but he has the Ash Blossom.
Yeah. Ash Blossom comes down
from... Cross-out Designator in response! As you mentioned, he is playing the cross-outs in the main deck. That was ideally supposed to negate any sort of disruption that your
Does he
opponent
have
might
the smasher?
But he
Yes.
does have the smashers, and here it comes from Samir in chain.
Yeah, so the smashers here is going to, on resolution, banish a level 2 from his Fjord, getting rid of the Spright blue, and of course, the Ogre.
Yeah, the fuse is not gonna resolve, but now it's down to Tom whether he has an option to continue, and at the very least he's gonna be able to use the second effect of the birth, getting this Ogre back if he has nothing else for him, and just good old days, enter battle phase, you know, and attack with some of his monsters.
All right, well, going to the battle phase and clearing here would be pretty strong. There's kind of touched upon this a little bit before, and that's the follow-up of Spright. I mean, a little bit lacking here, isn't it?
Yeah. Definitely is. At the same time, we know there is a starter. So at the very worst case, that's enough to just keep playing through. But it seems like he did enter battle phase. Yep.
Banishing from the top of the deck with the effect of the
Ogre.
Yeah. So that was the very top cards that he gets to remove there. Yeah, banishing the
Yeah, you
Spright
activate
blue.
the top 5 and you just banish one of them face down. But
Yeah.
then you don't get to change the order of the rest.
Yeah.
That would have been a little too strong.
So yeah, he does get to still remain and keep the knowledge of what Samir is top decking here. So it is something to consider, but yeah, Tom not in that great of a position here. Ooh, okay, setting in the same
Absolutely not.
column. All right.
Yeah, and
Okay, I think he noticed that because
Yeah,
he's putting in the same
exactly.
column, we need to use this in the end phase.
I mean, yeah, at the same time, he didn't have an effect monster, so he was safe regardless, but
Yeah.
might as well use it here. And let's see. So, as we mentioned, the token, by the way, it's only 1400, as it only got to tribute the sprint.
So resolving this in the end phase, and Samir is going to, well, proceed to turn 3 and try and capitalize on the decent start we had here. Tom has put in a lot of work to try and pick apart what he's set up, but I think it's now time for Samir to mount an offensive in this situation.
Because Samir now, with this play, might also be considering going for the Mosquito play.
Yeah, that's some big monsters in attack mode. Yep.
So
Absolutely.
there's an Ibiru, so he could consider that.
Okay, so as we can see here, he gets to activate his birth, banishing 3, and at the same time he gets a card once it resolves. Since, of course, Samir activated a spell, that's the secondary, or rather tertiary effect of the birth. So you get to banish some cards from the graveyard.
Samir has a lot of tools in his deck just in the main here to be able to you know, deal with a field like this after the top of the deck was shuffled. We don't actually know what the top is anymore after the shuffling of the starter there, so the Ogre effect isn't going to be relevant per se. And let's see what he picked up. Ooh, it looked like a Fenrir, I think, or was that from the previous turn?
Yeah, it was from the previous
okay.
turn. He picked up maybe a trap?
Yeah,
maybe an
sure.
Emperor.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're gonna start things off with this jet. At the same time, of course, the Kashtira Ogre is still there. So whatever, he's gonna be able to excavate again the top 5, potentially.
So all things considered, in this situation, assuming the face down is nothing, is Mosquito enough here?
It could have been, depending on how many monsters, but just due to the fact that he set it on the same column, maybe that's an impermanence. I think it could also be a bluff very well.
Also the
Because,
Big
you
Bang
know,
he had it, right?
Yeah, because the Big Bang was added, but
Yeah.
he's still holding, I think, a card at least. So I'm calling it maybe a bluff if you're Samir, but let's see. Gonna get to add the starter.
And Samir is out of blues, right? Because one was banished and the other one is in the graveyard, right? So you cannot get it with the last starter, let's say.
Kashtira Big Bang is an underrated card on the field. It has a very good effect. It allows you to banish monsters when your opponent to sort of equalize the same number of monsters. But we cannot fulfill the condition of that because we did not establish a Kashtira XC on the field. So yeah, I think Samir, unless he's really anticipating a...
Okay, Samir having a laugh by having his monster reborn banished face down. Really one of the few, if not the only players we have seen this weekend playing that card.
Well, Monster Reborn is part of a long legacy of amazing staples, and Samir, he had to put it in his deck. You know, knowing the way that he deck builds, he loves those classic cards, and yeah, unorthodox approach to deck building. It's completely been a great payoff for him throughout this tournament. He's managed to make it all the way to the final in a Spright variant that I think maybe potentially isn't the most popular. You know, we've seen so much Runic this weekend, haven't we?
Exactly. I mean, we have seen a lot of different versions of Spright this weekend, and we said that this was previously, you know, more popular, maybe YCS Leon with, especially because like Samir is on Swap Frogs, which we haven't seen so far this weekend, so it's totally awesome as well.
Still haven't used Swap Frog in the 2 matches that we've had the pleasure to have him here, but it seems like he's out of the Nimbles. So at this point, he's gonna just try his best with this Gigantic.
I think he will also go Battle Phase, and then in main phase should go downward into Zeus.
Interesting.
It was
he
an
attacks
impermanence.
over, and it is the impermanence. Wow.
That's pretty devastating. We're going to lose our attack that we gain from Gigantic Spright. Remember, it doubles the attack points of itself as it has an extra deck monster's material, but the negate of impermanence brings him down to be smaller than Nibiru.
Yeah, brutal turn here. As mentioned, Samir might have predicted this impermanence, but unfortunately, he just hoped that it was going to be a bluff. And I think now he's in a really tough spot. Nadir, as you mentioned, one of the downsides of this deck is just playing. If your board, you know, whatever you have going on gets rid of. But let's see. The Fenrir at least, last line of defense to stay in this.
Does not activate the effect of the Fenrir to get a search here, as we're only playing 2 copies of it. I was hoping maybe, you know, there's a little bit of a benefit. It's the a battle phase has taken place with an Xyz monster, but no way to extend and try and establish a Zeus despite that in main phase 2. And so Tom is going to go directly to the battle phase here, it looks like, with the normal summon of the Fenrir with the birth.
And here Samir just trying to survive because he's buying himself some time, because otherwise this would have been a lot.
Yeah, but what are you even trying to go for at this stage?
Jet as a target here might potentially... have we been through 3 starters at this stage?
Yeah, I think so. So maybe the double cross could be the only one. Let's see. Here, as mentioned, Birth is gonna just go and banish 3 more cards from his graveyard.
Birth is just an incredible card. It has so much utility and versatility to be able to remove cards from the graveyard, using it at the start of the turn here to perform a normal summon of a level 7 without tributing. And of course, the most important effect is every turn you can bring back something from your grave or banish zone.
Yep. And we do see the 3rd copy of starter from Samir. Not sure if he's even gonna be able to get there, so let's see.
All right, Tom is making quick work of Samir's field here as we're putting... Oh, okay, on there, you're right.
I mean,
so he doesn't want to lose the banish here just so that he can keep his life points as much intact as possible.
And again, we're going to see the top 5. And yes,
it's a concession from Samir. All right, well, Samir has unfortunately been defeated in this round despite the fact that he got to go first. He must be really kicking himself.
Absolutely. He had a pretty smooth semi-finals, although against a dear friend of him in Ryan Jabri, but now it's the first time that we have seen him losing while going first. And this is obviously very worrying considering everything, but that one copy of Nibiru drawn by Tom really surprised the French player, and can't blame him. He still kept his composure, tried to play it through with Book of Eclipse, but now it's just a game. We must be focused on the remainings. Nothing is sure yet. We have seen a lot of comebacks, even in the finals. So what do we think Samir is gonna do now that he approaches his side deck?
Well, Samir does have to try and reverse sweep here, but yeah, with the option of going first yet again, he has some options in the side deck here. Taking a look here, you know, Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, he plays one of that could potentially come in, anti-spells, and the one-off Droll and Lockbird as well. The way, do love the way he makes the ratios that Samir does. It's... Well, it works.
It works. Funny enough, both players are using a lot of one-offs. Tom is using cross-out designator to justify them. Samir is just confident and he gets there. But I really want to see these Swap Frogs, maybe a Totally Awesome plus an anti-spell. could be enough. On the other hand, though, Tom is gonna adapt this deck, and he has a lot of interesting cards for, especially going second.
Yeah, he has so many. He has the gammas, so that very, very powerful as well. And then he has all the one-offs for the crossout as well. So he has the Lightning Storm, Feather Duster, the Ash Blossom as well. So he has a lot of different, and also the triple tactic thrust if he really wants to. So it's a lot of different ones. So it's not going to be easy for Samir, but maybe this time he will go first and the Totally Awesome will come up.
Do you think Dimension Shifter is worth bringing in going second for Tom?
I mean, honestly, it is okay. I mean, in my opinion, the deck can play under Shifter, but it's not great. I mean, it's honestly, I used to play Shifter in Spright, and
especially because this is not Runic Spright, so it's even worse in this case. And at the same time, though, it will be interesting to see. Samir probably has no idea that his opponent is only on one Nibiru. He might be thinking, oh, he's maining 3 Nibirus, you know, and now he's going to play even more conservatively around that.
When he doesn't really need to, you know, just happens to have drawn the one off, right?
But we'll see. Regardless, our duelists are ready, so let's get into this game 2 of the finals.
Samir winning the dice roll in game 1 and faltering despite that, so has another chance to redeem himself here and see if he can do anything like his game plan was set out to do. Turn 1.
And looking promising. I saw a starter and a blue, but let's see.
All right, that's a normal summon at level 2 and a special summon of blues, so can't complain too much. We're off to the races here.
Gamma! There's the Gamma. There is the Gamma.
This is very, very powerful, because basically now you're able to stop the blue. We saw Samir having both the starter and the triple tactic talent as well.
Yeah, I mean, Spright Blue is the sort of heart and soul of the Spright engine. It gets you into any other monster, which, you know, Jet gets you into any other spell. We got triple talents in response here.
But the end is actually looking more on the weak side outside of this Gamma for Tom. So this talent can actually hurt quite a bit. What do you think rid of here?
I mean, the Gamma we know is probably dead unless, I mean, the driver's most likely to get banished. Book of Moon helps you going second, but there's not a lot of engine here, and that's exactly what Samir does, removing that Apotheosis as the extender.
Yeah, Apotheosis gone, and now we see the starter, and a huge round of applause from our crowd supporting the French player.
Because now you go for the Jet and you can take the double cross, then you go for the sprint.
This is still really strong.
So it's super strong. Yeah.
You can do pretty much the same combos we've seen. You have access to the Melfi engine, potentially. And we get to the double cross. So this is still looking very promising for Samir. As you see, he's thinking about whether he should go for the Gigantic before or just get into the sprint, honestly.
Psyframe Gear Gamma is pretty strong against Spright if we start off with a big, powerful normal summon effect, because it doesn't just negate, it removes the body from the field, which means you can't special summon level 2s. But because Samir actually opened probably one of the worst monsters you want to see in your opening hand, really, is the Nimble Angler, but you know, it's still doing a little bit of work regardless. But it seems like Samir is just popping off here with the Gigantic Spright into the carrot and now performing a Link Summon for that sprint.
Yeah, interesting sequence here. Usually you can go for the other way around, going for the sprint first and then the Gigantic. So I'm wondering what kind of line.
Yeah, I mean, because like you still get to keep the carrot at the end of it, don't you?
Exactly. So usually that's what you would go for. But I mean, we saw that. I think he's playing 2 copies of both, carrot and spread.
Yeah.
So he has definitely a unique Spright engine, we can say. But honestly, sometimes when you look at your opponent end, you know what's enough. And you know that your opponent end is very weak. Relying on this top deck, if there is nothing good from Tom, we might have a very quick game 2 here.
So the Book of Moon, the Rise Heart, and a Psyframe Gear Gamma with a banished driver. So something off the top here has to be really powerful, otherwise Samir's first turn play here looks to be quite convincing. We've got the Melfi set up with the double cross. All right, Samir going to think on the normal summon of the Rise Heart here.
Makes sense. He's thinking about finally using this Melfi carry, and he does.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to go for the carry here. because now you also prevent your opponent to continue, and then you also have the double cross.
So much disruption with just a small
he has a
engine,
lot.
right? The sprint bounce, the double cross, and the Melfi combo.
Yeah, I think he has more than enough for what Tom is holding now.
Absolutely. Looking innocent, but actually quite deadly combo here that actually... Where...
So I think we were double checking on the Neuron app to see just exactly how the PSCT works on the Melfi caddy here. Will it still bounce? Does it actually matter here? And I think the way that this... I don't think that Tom believed that Book of Moon worked.
Exactly.
I think it would work.
Double check.
That's exactly what they are asking right now, so I'm gonna bring it up for you guys as well to read. What Gekar says is that you can return this card to the end, and it says, this card to the end. Then you can add one beast from your deck.
So yeah, we're just double checking with the judges here to make sure that this card works exactly how the PSCT results here. So I think this should just return to the hand anyway and still resolve.
Yeah, I think so.
So the Melfi engine, I mean, it's a little bit quite unorthodox, I suppose, to an extent. It's been popularized, I suppose, in the last couple of months here recently.
Yep. In the meantime, we can go back to us real quick while we wait for this decision and the appeal from our head judge. Obviously, I mean, it is the finals. If you have a doubt about a ruling, also there is involved some language barrier because the card is in French, it looks like. So you really want to make sure that this is the right ruling. And as you can see here, there goes some of the crowd that is here watching the finals live. Huge crowd gathered, and this might actually play into the pressure. But action seems like might be back, so we can go. And as mentioned, unfortunately, it resolved.
And so now we're looking at the Melfi of the Forest text here to see if it also negates and prevents your opponent from attacking after you activate that caddy here.
And this is a very unfortunate line from Tom, who already was starting with a pretty weak hand and relied on a top deck, which obviously we don't know yet what that could be. But now we could see even an Herald potentially from Samir, which I think makes sense when there is only one more card that could threaten you. Let's see. Yeah. That is, so Herald coming down from Samir.
Do you think it's correct to bounce it here?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, because you protected the Herald.
Yeah.
That's why.
But the Melfi prevents your opponent from activating or attacking after a Melfi returns to the hand. And now you've just given that top deck an option. That's the special summon of the Kashtira Unicorn. Am I getting the effect of Melfi of the Forest correct?
Yeah. No, yeah, he cannot attack and
well played.
Well, it doesn't matter because the double cross has resolved to steal the Unicorn.
Really quick game 2 here, and the crowd already going crazy. Can't blame them. It is down to game 3. We mentioned how this was gonna be a close one, and it is indeed a close one. But for the first time in this duel, finally Tom gets to go first. Maybe, I gotta say, maybe, because we have seen some Kashtira player like Ryan.
We've seen
going second.
a couple of mind games have happened throughout this YCS, and I mean, it's just anyone's game at this point. Tom has proven that he's a pretty experienced and qualified duelist to pilot this Kashtira deck well, and you know, Samir, we've also seen him go second.
Yeah, no, exactly. But also, as you mentioned, as Ryan played it out, basically let Samir go first, and then decided cards to go second. So basically, he had like evenly matched, which were not useful at all. And looking at Tom's side deck, indeed, he has a lot of cards for going second.
Yeah, it's very close, because on the one hand, as you're saying, his side deck is built entirely pretty much for going second, but he's also maining free crossout, which we have not seen yet. And when you play a card like crossout, you're guaranteed to combo through much more easily going first. So I am really interested in seeing what it's gonna go down, but I've heard a lot of Kashtira players say that either in the mirror match or against Melfi Spright, they prefer to go second. So maybe though this game scared Tom, we're gonna see some bias might be in there. On the other hand though, we went through what Samir sides in going first. What do you think he's gonna bring in going second?
Samir has a lot of good options in the side deck here. You know, evenly matched is pretty strong. We might see those Kurikaras.
Yeah.
You know,
we are seeing a lot of
They
players.
won him the other top 4, so why not?
I think we will for sure seeing the Kurikara going inside Samir's deck, and I think Kurikara the Incarnate made the difference this weekend. There were a lot of deck lists.
Absolutely, did.
I think the Kurikara works so particularly well against Kashtira because a lot of monsters on the Kashtira field trigger, you know, like the Fenrir, the Shangri, and the standby phase, there's a lot of things to tribute. But when you're this deep into a tournament and you're at this stage, you probably know at this point that Samir's playing Kurikara.
You do, and at the same time, some of these cards are just there. You cannot really play around all of your opponent options. Sometimes it's correct to just call it a day, and especially when we are down to one final game. It's probably, at least for Tom, the most important game of his career yet, maybe of his life, and for Samir as well, I'm sure. It's very nerve-wracking, it's very shaky, huge crowd, but as mentioned, we went through a long journey, and now there is one game remaining, 5 final cards to be drawn from either of these 2 duelists. I think it's about time. Let's jump into Game 3, the final game of YCS London.
Samir versus Tom, France versus Germany, Spright versus Kashtira. The Game 3 final comes down to this as Tom gets to begin and start this duel. What an incredible match this has been so far. So much back and forth. This is what you want to see from a grand final, don't you?
Really, really hyped for this ending, and I can tell you already, I saw the MVP of the top 4 in a Kurikara in the end from Samir, waiting there.
Okay.
So it's there.
Well, if there's a start for Tom, it's gonna be special summoning Unicorn, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, might as well, might as well.
Yeah, the just a fun fact, you know, if you actually look through the database and type in Unicorn, about 3/4 of all those cards have been meta at some point.
That's fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, well, we're gonna go through the motions here using the Apotheosis with the Fenrir to be able to search here. How far do you go? How deep do you go? Do we 5-lock if we have it? Or do you play more conservatively?
I mean, I say it's the finals. Give us a show and just do it. Just do it. Yeah, just go all in. But now, of course, you want to take it somewhat conservatively. But again, at the same time, Samir has been on stream. Samir has been at the top tables. You might have know what he's playing, what kind of cards he has. And maybe going all in is the correct one.
I also think you really want to see if your opponent has any sort of interruptions before, you know, going into that approach. But
no Ash Blossoms or Impermanences, anything like that have been used so far.
You can see Samir for now pretty much ending back and just accepting his fate.
All right, so I don't think we're going to see a 5-lock here as we go for the Big Bang Banish with the Rise Heart.
Yeah, and I saw an evenly matched Banished, by the way.
Book of Eclipse as well. Yeah.
Let's see, we are still potentially gonna see... Ooh, and he actually goes for the monster, which is an interesting one that probably leads to not going for a 5-lock. Usually what you would go for is, we have mentioned it plenty of times, the Spell and Traps.
So do you think there's a little bit of a sort of a strategy involved with which exact zone you lock if you can only go for 2 or 3?
Yeah, sometimes it depends on your opponent decks, of course, especially when they're playing Link Monsters. That's important for some decks. In this specific matchup, I don't think it is that much, but let's see. Let's see, because at the moment this opening is still very impressive from Tom.
All right, so Diablosis, the Mind Hacker, gets to look through the extra deck of Samir.
Is the Mosquito gone finally, or is he gonna make the same mistake as Ryan, leaving that Mosquito there? Let's see.
Yeah, so typically you want to hit those powerful Go Second cards.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, I think someone watched the semi-final, All
right, so the zone will be blocked off here from the first banishing face down of the Diablosis, and then Samir would be banishing cards from the top of the deck, equal to the number of banished cards, triggering the Shangri-La once again to block off all of those 3 zones underneath the extra monster zone.
Yeah.
Samir did not check the last 4 cards, surprisingly.
They're all one-offs anyway.
Fair enough. And now, play is back to Samir, and I can tell you, I also saw that he drew into a triple tactics talent, which is a great draw from the French player. Talent and Kurikara. This could actually be a good way to break this board.
All right, so question. There's been a bit of debate over the course of this entire format.
Okay.
Do you activate Shangri-La in the standby phase? A lot of players have been opting to not use it in the standby phase.
Yeah. I mean, again, it really depends on what cards you think your opponent is using, because with talent, that's fine. It's the trust that it could be an issue, but...
I think it's that Kurikara I'm kind of worried about here.
I agree with you. And sometimes it might be correct, and that's exactly what I think Samir is starting with. So Kurikara is the first card of this game 3 for Samir, getting rid of the Shangri-La and developing a 3000 attack monster.
It really does beg the question, you know, was Tom aware that Samir was playing this? He's been on, Samir has been on feature. He's probably had his friends, you know, letting him know just exactly what is being played, and I think that might be a little bit of a misstep, don't you agree?
Yeah, no, especially because, like, as we were mentioning, this card has been played by most of our players this weekend, and I think, as you correctly mentioned, these guys maybe were close to each other, but there's another one.
Is that not once per turn?
Yeah. Wow.
There's another one.
Double Kurikara to
Talent as well.
Incredible.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable. Samir activating the talents in response to steal the Fenrir,
which he can use, obviously. And what an opening by Samir. You can see him smiling. You can probably hear some of this crowd, which is going crazy.
Yeah, sorry, I was shouting over you. I can barely hear. The crowd are going crazy right now.
But Fenrir was special summoned by the Shangri-La, right, this turn?
Yeah,
so he cannot put it into attack position, right?
He cannot switch the Fenrir.
Yeah, so this Fenrir should be in defense position.
Yeah.
And I'm sure our judges will correct that momentarily. But yeah, this is an extremely powerful setup here by Samir. He is in a really good spot. That is a Spright starter being activated as well.
Yeah.
What a hand from Samir.
Now they're gonna fix and put back the Fenrir to defense position correctly, but it cannot be switched as it was summoned this turn, but still making this... what an opening. Wow.
Wow, I mean...
I mean, you could. That is incredible. I actually didn't think Kurikara was not once per turn. You know, you would assume something like that would be. But wow, opening multiples of that actually paying off here.
Especially because like having one already was powerful. Having a second one.
Wow.
So what are the stats on it? One is 15, one is 30.
No, they are both 3,000.
Both
They're both
3,000.
Tribute and a monster. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are your brethren. You know what I mean?
That's unbelievable. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, Diablosis not really being able to interact or do much here just by itself. So a singular set card from Tom. It better be a good one.
Yeah, he definitely needs it. But, wow. The rest of the end, yeah, he does have
it's really
red,
strong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's the dream opening, honestly. I think this is the kind of opening when you dream on Saturday night of being in the finals. That's what you imagine yourself drawing. And yeah, sometimes dreams do come true. And yeah, let's see if this will be the case for Samir.
Can Samir pick up his second victory for a final of a major tournament?
European champion already. Can he become a YCS champion? And not only a YCS champion, the champion of the largest ever European YCS.
That is an accolade that people would absolutely love to have, and Samir is within reach here as we have this double 3,000 Kurikara. The Nimble Hamsters, Beavers being some special summoned from the deck here with the Angler.
Tom debating whether to actually use something face down. This must be the moment. Let's see.
So we searched Spright Carrot, but we decided to special summon the red instead.
Yeah, which I agree with you. It's kind of debatable. maybe flashbacks of that Nibiru from game one.
Yeah. Well, despite the fact that the gigantic Spright is now negated, I don't think he's super worried about that, right?
No.
It was safer to go for the red.
Lucky the Mosquito is gone, so that at least is not an issue, but this is still so much. I think even if you just... Is he playing the Bimaru? Or something along those lines?
He's not playing on
Bimaru.
No. But now on the field, how many life points?
Because the Diablosis is like 62.
This will be 62, right?
28. So yeah, that's 32.
All right, well, deciding what to go for here.
He's
considering the Bujin monster. No, we're going to go for a second sprint here. All right, so
just gonna try and bounce back the Diablosis, and that's all you need, honestly.
Yeah, he also had the Nimble Beaver as a normal summon.
Yeah, special summoning one from the deck.
And then he goes for another gigantic, and then this is enough,
yeah,
right?
It's not even used its effect, so this is plenty of possible...
Look how fast he's playing. He knows it's within reach here. Searching out the Spright Smashers. The gigantic on 3200, 30-30 on the Kurikaras.
Moments away from being the YCS champion. You can see Samir thinking about it.
Any responses here? That is the Diablosis being banished attack for game.
And there it is!
Victory for
Samir! Wow! Wow.
The crowd is going absolutely wild right now.
The crowd is going crazy right now, and you cannot blame them. What an ending and what a match we just went through. Wow. Honestly, what a finals. What a weekend it has been. And what a pleasure to be with you guys doing this for all of you at home watching. We just witnessed one of the best finals I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, no, we're just waiting for our ceremony to take place here so we can talk to you a little bit about that incredible match. What a duel, Alberto.
Super emotional, honestly, because like Samir lost game one.
Exactly.
And he stayed calm, and he couldn't even be here, guys.
That's the crazy part. Of course, there's gonna be and again a tale just to tell everyone. But Samir, in an interview we had with him earlier on, mentioned that he wasn't supposed to be here. He didn't prepare with his friends, and he booked a flight 8 hours prior to the event, just saying, why not? Let's go. I'm confident. I'm gonna try my best with my deck, with my very unique deck, because we mentioned it. He had a very unique Spright deck. And he made it. He made it all the way, becoming a 2-time champion, European champion, now YCS champion. What a journey it has been, and going even with a reverse sweep in the finals. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, the mind, the mentality to maintain your cool after losing game one, which it could maybe be argued it was winnable at some point, and then to take it all the way to game three.
Yeah,
I mean, you get Nibiru in game one, and yeah, that's absolutely phenomenal from him. Just again, keeping his composure, and this is what really stands out as the difference between you know, a very good player and a player like Samir, which we mentioned already in the past was by far one of the best players in Europe, and is now, I think, deserving place among the legends of the European Yu-Gi-Oh community. Absolutely great.
Truly cementing himself as one of the biggest names in Yu-Gi-Oh right now. Samir Bachar, European champion, and now a YCS champion as well.
But absolutely, guys, once again, thank you from me, Alberto, and Nadir for being with us for this entire weekend. Before we head out, we have the most important part of the weekend, which is the prize ceremony. And obviously, we want to hear it from Ed and the winner of YCS London 2023, Samir Bachar.
Welcome, duelists. This is it. The winner of the 250th YCS in London, it's Samir Bachar! Samir, your energy has been amazing. The crowd has been cheering you on. How do you feel right now?
My friend, I'm happy.
Well, you should be happy. You are now the winner. Congratulations. Everyone was cheering you on. You can clearly see all the support here. This is absolutely amazing. This isn't the first time you won a title, but this is the 250th YCS, and this is your champion! Please welcome to the stage Mr. Ishida, Vice President of Konami Digital Entertainment in Europe, who's going to present you your trophy. Congratulations, Samir. Give it up! Congratulations. Please come on stage, all of us who've worked on this. Thank you so much to all our volunteers and our partners for making all of this possible. All of our duelists for their passionate support of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game. Thank you to my wonderful colleagues who have been part of this coverage team. And thank you all at home for watching. Give it up one more time for Samir Bachar! Thank you so much, everyone. This is the end of our coverage for YCS London, the 250th YCS. We cannot wait to see all of you at our next event. Take care, everyone. And one more time, your new champion,